Story 1. That she went to the hospital with COVID-19 and I thought everything was good. That was 2 years ago. She never came home. I still occasionally wake up in the night thinking she is in the other room. Part of me still hasn't accepted that she is gone. One day I will be okay. Story 2. There is a very real risk that our relationship could end up just like her parents. She's similar enough to her mother, and I'm similar enough to her father, and that's just terrifying. Story 3. I don't think it could be any other way, but I will still list it. The most painful realization is that I met her late in life. Yes, I have a lot of life left to live. I'm only middle-aged, and I treasure the time I have left. Further, had things been different in our lives, we might not have ever met, might not have had our kids, any of those things. Who knows how the dice would have been cast? Still, I wish I had already spent decades with her. I can't help but wonder what our life would have been like had we started dating much earlier. I guess we would have to know then what we know now. That would be a trip. There's no use in rewriting the past. I get that, truly I do. It's funny, as I think we know each other better than some people who have known us for decades. That irony is not lost on me. Story 4. That people change as time goes by, even my love, and that very rarely is for the best. She was fantastic 10 years ago, great 5 years ago, she was good 2 years ago. Now she's alright, though the cracks are starting to show and seem potentially enormous. I'm starting to see things from her that I never imagined possible, and I pride myself on being a good judge of character. Also, I've developed a genuine fear every time she drinks a bit too much. The stranger appears, and it's starting to become scary. Story 5. She is older than me by enough years that I am extremely likely to outlive her. It does not change how I feel about her, but it is sort of sad. What am I going to do with myself? I would like to think I will just wander the world for a while. Granted, you never know how long anyone will live. I could be with someone younger and they may well die before me. Story 6. She's never going to desire me in the way I want to be wanted. She loves me. I know this. She's a good partner and mom. She's never going to leave or cheat, and I'm committed as well. But that means there will always be an emptiness. If you subscribe to love languages, it basically means I've accepted a forever that requires me to completely deny my own language. Story 7. There are differences in how we were raised by our parents, and I am sure it will bring huge arguments in a few years regarding how we should raise our children. This is something we cannot sort out. Story 8. She often jokes to me that she won't live to 60 because she's immunocompromised and always has had health problems. I like to give her hope that she'll live a long life and grow old with me, but I secretly dread the thought of her dying so young. I want to grow old with her, but I think this will only be a fantasy. If one of us were to bear the burden of being alone and grieving, I'd rather it be me than her. Story 9. She will only ever clean if company is coming over. She will not help me maintain a clean house. She is completely content living in an absolute mess if we have no plans for company or visitors. We have 2 kids whose biggest issue is not putting things in the dishwasher, so the sink piles up. My wife cannot throw things away, not like a hoarder. She will finish something and set the trash down and walk away. Why? The trash can is right there. The worst part about that is we have 2 big dogs that love to rip any trash they can reach into 1,000 pieces. My biggest issue is laundry. I hate doing it. I will live out of a basket. I do not care. It is hard to maintain a house by myself when I have 5 lives actively working against me. Story 10. I couldn't save her. Very long story short. She died and I tried to save her. Enter paramedics who connected a monitor to her and just had the flatline noise. Story 11. That we didn't meet sooner and that our time together is flying by. We don't want it to end, but we won't live forever. She is amazing. We are made for each other. 7 years together and it still feels like the honeymoon phase. I never want it to end. We both know we can't live forever. We both appreciate how rare what we have together is. We savor every moment. Story 12. I didn't know it was going to be this heavy in here. I was going to say that my wife has 0 talent for cooking or interior decorating. I wish anyone having troubles the utmost strength to get through them. You all deserve happiness and hope. Story 13. Her pride costs us living a much easier life than the one we have now. She had a great dream job with the state when we met. She got screwed out of it, but she's never not worked in her dream field that's very artsy and creative. All of her friends work in that field, and it's core to her identity. She just can't work in that field in our state anymore. She doesn't want to move either. We inherited a ton of money from her grandmother. She sank a lot into her own business. She works hard to break even, but hey, it's her business. In my economic view, all she bought was a job that doesn't pay any money, a hobby. We're financially okay, but if she got a job making even $25,000 a year, we'd never stress about money again. We'd probably just blow it all on amazing vacations every year. But that would mean taking a regular job without prestige. I'm a little bitter because I had my dreams crushed years ago. I was going to get my computer science degree, leave this town, move to California, and get paid. Instead, I ended up a middle manager and never left my state. I've made my peace with it, but it's hard to look at someone who refuses to give up something I had to give up before I even had a taste of it because of her pride. Well. Story 14. My ex, when I realized she had lied to me about being clean and was still addicted to fentanyl. Broke up with her the same day and never looked back. Best decision of my life, to be honest. Story 15. That she was a voluntary alcoholic. She had attention deficit disorder and craved going to parties and functions all the time, but she had social anxiety, so she would drink 3 glasses of wine before any going out activities, and since she was a lightweight, she would get drunk fast, and that sent her into euphoric manias where she would talk nonstop for 2 hours, becoming dismissive and disgusting. Our meeting was dazzlingly romantic, and our tastes in food and television shows completely matched. Only 10 years later would I find out that I myself had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, so our relationship was literally based on our demons getting along very well together. The time spent was 1 year, and although it was horrible a lot of the time, it gave me lots of very rare and dearly bought experience that I am still discovering 10 years later. Getting out of that relationship and being alone again in my apartment was one of the most liberating feelings ever. Like in a movie with a snowy plane crash where the survivor finds a cabin in the snow after a week and gets to shower, eat, and sleep. And in my case, order 2 calzones. Story 16. The birth of our child changed her into someone I wouldn't have married. It's like 2 completely different people. I'll stay with her, but she isn't the woman I fell in love with. Sucks, but that's what it is. She is a wonderful mother, but now that I have given her what she wanted, I am here for money and lifting heavy things. I spend time playing with our son, working, keeping the house, and splitting the chores. I am a roommate to her at this point, and she is aware of it. After 7 years, our son turns 7 in a few months. I moved to the spare bedroom and told her I wouldn't leave until our son moved off to college. She was okay with that. She's all but admitted that she used me for a child and wanted nothing else afterward. Story 17. She is emotionally selfish and has limited ability to hold space for my feelings. She is consistently in crisis and sort of lives in that space but doesn't realize it. When she feels unsafe, she can be incredibly mean and destructive. Story 18. I was blind to how he was loving me for years, and I wasted the time. I was stuck on not being loved in my love languages, but I didn't take the time to learn his. I've worked through a lot of trauma that completely shifted my life perspective, and it's like I'm capable of seeing now. But how many years did I waste that I can't get back? Don't worry about what we didn't get. Look at what we're going to have from now on. I love you. You don't have to ask me to forgive you. I forgave you before you even asked because I knew the woman I married was still in there. And here she is. It's crazy living with the man of your dreams and being blind to how incredible he is. My friends all compare their husbands to him because he is all about me. Always has been. Never faltered once in that. He's never yelled at me. Loves to cook for me. Loves to touch me just to do it. Not for sexual gratification. And dotes on me. I took an Xbox remote apart because it was sticking, and this man acted like I walked on the moon. But it was because I've been so depressed for so long I never showed interest in anything. He was just thrilled I was acting alive outside of asking for sex. Story 19. I've read through a lot of these and I can feel almost all of them in my life now. The whole feeling of only being talked to when she needs something, which has been going on for years. She only wants someone who agrees with her and not a true partner. I get blamed for the problems even though I don't cause them, and all of her solutions involve me doing more, like getting a third job, instead of her making any changes, like cutting spending. So many more things I could say. Just under 17 years of a relationship and more than 15 years of marriage. And in the end, it doesn't seem to matter at all. Story 20. That if I don't reassure and keep a close enough eye on her, she might let those negative thoughts win for good, and I might very well be left a single father. Story 21. There are some things she will never be able to relate to, no matter how badly I wish she could. I was a city kid. She was a tiny town Midwest girl. Some aspects of growing up near a big city will always be lost on her. Some aspects of growing up in a tiny town will always be lost on me. Story 22. That one day either she will die and I will be left alone, or I will die leaving her without me. She is my best friend and partner. Had her by my side for 14 years, hopefully many more. Story 23. She is never going to be openly loving and affectionate. Everything is always going to be a fight, and I am usually, dare I say, always going to be the one that falls on their sword. Story 24. I do not think she has ever truly loved me, at least not in the way that I define love. I think she loved that I could provide a safe, stable, and secure life for her, that I could be a good and healthy father. When our marriage therapist asked each of us what we loved about the other, her answer was, he's a great provider. She will never love me the way I need to be loved. Story 25. That no matter how much I put into the marriage, it wouldn't make a difference. She only needed me but didn't want me. Spent a long time in therapy to realize how much I was being used. Story 26. We have different drives. She loves to achieve, strive, and seek to do better things, work-wise. I'm an artist. For 10 years, I had my dream job. Look up this topic, research this topic. Write this many pages about it. I wasn't paid well for the quality of my work, but well above average for our locale and way above average for how long or how much effort it took me. 7 years, and I'm pretty sure she's a workaholic, though she hates the suggestion, and I've left my job. The department is falling apart without me, which is kind of funny because the executive, but I used to make a lot of money for other people. Now I'm doing a postgraduate that I feel should just be given to me, but I also feel useless and robbed of the impact and quasi-celebrity I used to enjoy. Sorry, I'm drunk and ranted and probably made no sense. Oh, I re-looked at the question. Yes, sometimes people impose their drive and goals on you, and it can make you feel small and unworthy. I turned down editor positions because I don't want to do that less satisfying work for barely more pay and significantly more effort. No, thank you. Story 27. With my ex, my realization was that I was just another phase in her mental instability. She moved to America from Australia, and I was the new love of her life until things went wrong, which her whole family knew. She was an attractive Australian with a beautiful body, and I jumped at it. Story 28. We were perfect for each other for many years, but at some point we grew as people and are no longer that perfect match we used to be. We haven't grown apart. We're just not the ideal partners for each other anymore. Story 29. He hasn't healed from his past relationship trauma, and the things those women did to him now reflect onto me. I have more proving to do now, and it's hard and unfair. Story 30. Her health is going to give her a very difficult life, and I'm going to be put in a caretaker role. Both 25 with a wedding coming up, and she could be in a wheelchair within 10 years. I will likely outlive her, and that scares me to think about. Story 31. She just simply doesn't respect me. I don't make the same money her friends' husbands and her cousin's husband do. She'll forever compare me to them subconsciously. She doesn't respect me enough to support me if I take a shot at a new career. It's exhausting. Story 32. That she didn't exist. That the woman I knew for 18 years, been with for 16, and married to for 9 of those years was all a facade put up by a person with no true self, who just became whatever she thought her current man wanted. The person I knew vanished overnight when someone else came along. She quit her job, abandoned all her friends, threw out all her belongings, and became someone new. Story 33. That she is high-functioning autistic. The first few years together she was masking hard. The mask has slipped now, And she's not who I thought she was, but now we have kids and my daughter is the same. I was chosen by her because I was stable and reliable, not because she loved me. Story 34. After 4 years of dating, she will never apologize or take accountability for things she said or did. I even told her that I've treated her non-apology as a fact of the universe. Story 35. That we fundamentally see the world differently. I am positive, spiritual, and empathetic. She is negative, cold, and sees things only at face value. I still love her. It's just very hard to make decisions and communicate. Story 36. That my wife lied to me about who she was and pretended to be someone she was not. Now we have 2 kids together, and all I think about is how she lied to me, and I wasted 12 years of my life. Story 37. One day I'm probably going to die before her, and she's going to be left alone after a lifetime with me. Hopefully, the kids will help her with all the things I used to do, as she'll probably be too old to learn all these new tasks.